Hi, I'm Sackett, one of the founders of SciAps. We're here talking about scrap metal sorting, and we've talked about the X50 and the pros and cons about that sort of entry level or basic model. And now we're going to talk about the X200. X200 is the mid-range model. It will analyze, in addition to all the elements that the X50 does, it will also do silicon, magnesium, aluminum, phosphorus, and sulfur. So what does that mean? That means that some of the limitations we talked about with the X50 go away. In fact, pretty much all of them go away. So let's show you what I'm talking about by that. You may remember earlier we said, hey, if I shoot a 2024, in about 1 second it says 2024 type, which is absolutely true. But now if I shoot a 2014, which has magnesium in it, now it does a little longer test and it says 2014. Why does it do that? Because it can measure the small amount of magnesium in this that allows it to separate this from the more common 2024 alloy. And you'll see that all over in all kinds of aluminum alloys. There are many that only differ by small amounts of mag or silicon, and that's a very important measurement if you want to really sort things out finely with good chemistry and very fine grade separation. Another great example is, let's take the 1100 6063. When you shoot an 1100, now it's going to say 1100 because it's not measuring any magnesium at all, but it is seeing the small amount of copper. Now, if you shoot a 6063, you may remember when we shot the 63 with this, it wasn't sure which it was because this can't measure magnesium. If you shoot a 6063 with this guy, after about 3 seconds, the 1% in this, about 0.8% magnesium pops right up, and it calls it a 6063. So it takes about another second than this, but it gets you the mag, and that means no more 1100 6063 mix-ups. Very, very important. Apart from that, it's got a lot of these other nice features. It'll do the 6061 really fast, and it'll measure the about 1% or so magnesium in there in about 1 second. There you go. 0.86% mag. And the other thing we talked about is we have some magnesium alloys. Again, you don't see these everywhere, which is why this may be a perfectly fine analyzer. But as we know, this doesn't measure magnesium. So if you shoot magnesium with this guy, what you get, first it identifies it as an aluminum, and then now it measures the magnesium, and it says AZ91. Because it's a 93% or so magnesium alloy. So this hits it just spot on. It's great for that. So again, the step up here, this goes to a more sophisticated X-ray tube, a better detector. It has what we often call two-beam analysis. Most of you all know that. And in that second beam, it measures these light elements, silicon, magnesium, aluminum, phosphorus, sulfur. That's what allows it to do a finer grade of alloy sorting. But still it's very fast. Any of these XRFs will measure stainless and high temps and most red metals quickly. Thermo, Hitachi, Evident, whoever they are now, they all will do it. However, we do the aluminum measurement the fastest. We're measuring that 1% in 6061 in about 2 seconds. A lot of the competitors take 7, 10, 15, 20 seconds. So that's our claim to fame with these models, because when we went into this business, we knew aluminum sorting with X-ray was a weakness. And these things really rock on it. So that's the story about the X200. Still a great price point. If you don't mind an instrument that's a little bigger, a little heavier, and can handle that silicon, mag, aluminum, phosphorus, sulfur measurement, this is a great choice. This is like the safe choice. You're not going to mix stuff up with this. And for the couple $1,000s more it costs, that might be a good bet. Again, great analyzer on the X50 if you're doing basic metals and basic aluminum, most common type of grade sorting, 3003, 6061, 5052. But if you really want to be sure that you've got the right alloy, step it up to the X200. A little more money, but a lot more peace of mind, shall we say. One limitation that really rarely comes up, but it's worth talking about, is because we're comparing the entry level, the mid-range, and the ultra premium, super duper high-end one here. The one area where the X200 can be a little slower than the premium is on an aluminum alloy that's got low magnesium. Like take a 356 It's got high silicon, low magnesium. So when I shoot that here, it comes up and it switches over, and it says 356, but it takes about, let's see, it takes about 7 or 8 seconds to measure that 0.3% magnesium. Everything else, all these other aluminum alloys, it's going to measure that mag in about 1 or 2 seconds. In order to really kind of explain the differences, that's the one area this guy is still much faster than any competing XRF, but a little slower than the super duper model.